Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Daisha. This is the Angel Fire Brief. If you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to click and like this video or subscribe below. So one of the things that I had planned to cover in tonight's video was some of the bits about uh, the war, but I decided to maybe push that back till tomorrow morning and just a recap for those that haven't been paying attention for at least the last few weeks. This is bigger than that. As you well know, protesters every Friday have taken to the main squares in almost every city in at least the rural parts of Iran. And I think this is a lot bigger than a lot of people would like to think it is. I think some of my friends in journalism are aptly calling this the Iranian Revolution 2.0. I have heard uh, a lot of people make reference to the things that happened in the late 70s and just how strategic things could be too subsequently, if we had more motivation in the West, to be reaching out and to be supportive. What is happening right now is women are not just dying because they are choosing not to wear hijabs. Women are being imprisoned for speaking about their fundamental human rights. At the core of its level, I feel like saying this is beyond human rights violation. And I know that the European Union this past week have been voting on um, officially giving the title of a terrorist organization to the IRGC. And I know a lot of people in both the press and in the journalism community that are activist inclined are talking about this, and rightly so. I think that what is going to happen here is if we have enough people um, all across the board united in support of prisoners too. I had called some of my Congress here in the United States last week regarding um, getting sponsorship of a political prisoner. I know that folks in the EU are doing it, and the European Union has officially put out, I, I think it's at least, somebody said like 35 to 50 the last time I checked, actual members of the European Parliament um, sponsoring political prisoners in Iran. So that is one of the projects that we collectively in a lot of the democratic circles in the US have been trying to push for in the past week or two, is like calling upon your Senate or Congress to, in fact, stand alongside the members of the EU in sponsoring prisoners in Iran. So this too has not gone um, unnoticed, and the this week too, I know that the Netherlands have also excuse me, joined and jumped on board to support as well. So I believe not just like a large majority of the EU, but collectively more um, countries are now signing on and joining in the possible hopeful designation of the IRGC as an official terrorist organization. So what has happened is um in just this past week there, subsequently I think have been like even more killings of political prisoners. I want to say, I think somebody told me 23, but then one of the other news sources that I um, looked up, I think had cited 25. So that's still like a lot, and I don't know if those numbers are exact from source to source. So I would say somewhere in like this week alone in the mid 20s is pretty alarming. um Political prisoners are not um like a chess pawn, a chess piece, I think, in this. But one of the things that what really struck me was this video of, I think, one of the majors, like the BBC put out, or maybe it was NBC or CNBC, I can't remember, but it was just this week, and I remember the reporter saying that they had gone to a funeral or experienced one of the funerals of one of the activists. So one of the fathers of the activists saying literally like, this revolution is calling for blood, or this revolution was calling for blood. If it was like, my son gave his life in a sacrifice, and I thought about that, and I pondered the brevity of what that sounds like. People are, I might have said it in my last video, but um a lot of my Persian friends abroad have vastly different opinions than a lot of my Persian friends here in the States. But the sentiment is still the same, because a lot of my Persian friends here in the States, their folks came right at the time of the original Iranian Revolution in the late 70s against the Savak. And this doesn't really eclipse that, and this doesn't really challenge that either. This is kind of like the same stuff happening, and some of the same base premise of, I think, what friends of mine here in the Persian community sentiments are with the same type of sentiment from Persian friends of mine there involved in the now current revolution, as it were. And that is what we are calling it, in fact. So the apparatus has changed, but is still the same somehow. And I know I'm only like technically a little bit part Persian, so like I really don't feel qualified to like talk on Persian things, but from the collective voice of like a lot of the female friends of mine here in the States, in contrast to the collective voice of Persian friends of mine there in Iran, it's like there is not a divide. There is not a disconnect. Women here support and like share their sentiments. And I feel like one of the collective things that I have heard time and time again, especially with girlfriends of mine in the Persian community here in the US, say that there's like something we should do more. You know, like we want to stand up, and just like we did for our Afghan sisters when our Afghan sisters were going through different struggles but similar geopolitical structural things at the same time. So one of the things that I suggested was like just different coalition type led meetings on like a Substack or like a Twitter space, something, so that some of the voices of the collective female voice in Iran right now can voice some of what their support needs are to the willing supporters of the collective Iranian female voices here that want to be involved and care about these issues and do want to support. So I'm thinking about hosting a Twitter space, and I want everybody, you know, who cares at all, whether you, I don't care what part of the world you live in. I don't care if you are US born. I don't care if you're US born Pakistani and you want to join in a woman and care about women's rights and care about the issues that are facing like other Muslim sisters around the world right now. So I'm proposing a Twitter space. I'm just going to drop that there. And then I am going to tweet this out in the morning because I want to see who is interested in participating in not just some like official Opairan discourse, but like preventative measures that other nations that support the women of Iran and what they're collectively going through right now, but what we can do like as a global community. And drop what you think in the comments below. I love you all. Have a blessed night. Peace. Be blessed.